are all set. Now, that is a slap to the public primary schools. Will kick out cartels in food chain soon. That's according to the president. Kenyans abroad send home 500 billion shillings. Details will be taking a look later on. And finally, on the Daily Nation, the murder plot, that is a complete departure on all the headlines I have here. Police are investigating claims that Nelson Ndereba Njeru hired gang to kill wife. It's a story that is quite touching. Actually, it's a human interest story. But she said that the wife instead paid her alleged attackers 1.3 million shillings to spare her life. Form 1 placement results to be known today. It's a story that many people and even the education sector are taking a look as they say that the Form 1 placement is going to happen today. So let's wait and see how that is going to pan out. All right. It's now that part of the moment that we get into the real gist of the discussion, and with me in studio I have got two gentlemen, two great minds on set. I have got Chrispus Wathimba, who is an engineer and a political analyst. Thank you so much for joining us, engineer. Asante sana. And right in the middle is, for the first time on live television, Governor of Kilifi County, Gideon Mung'aro. The last time he appeared on television probably was still as CS. But as it is right now, he's the governor of Kilifi County. Governor, welcome to our studios.
Thank you. Thank you.
How is Kilifi? Let me start from there.
Well, Kilifi is good. We are moving on. We are all set now. We have set our county executive, and now we are moving on.
Yes. When I told Chrispus that you are coming on set, the first thing he told me, I hope he's coming with cashew nuts. We don't have cashew nuts on set here, Governor.
Next time.
Next time. Okay. Gentlemen, let's talk about what's happening. The president was in Nyanza over the weekend. And that is a complete departure from a majority of people, what people expected. People expected to see a different kind of approach. But that did not happen. And, you know, it's now a talk that many people are now taking across board. Let me start with you, Chrispus. Are we seeing a situation where, you know, opposition leader Raila Odinga is now accepting the situation that is now over and people are now moving on?
Well, I want to first congratulate the president for taking the bold step to demonstrate leadership by reaching out to those who did not even vote for him.
Yeah.
Because one important thing that we need to reflect on is that this country, we have serious economic challenges that require political leadership to solve them. And therefore, for him to have taken that decision to reach out to Luo Nyanza, we need to stop reading too much politics, but look at the economic opportunities that Luo Nyanza can bring to the rest of the country if we are part and parcel of the conversation of building this nation. So Raila may feel threatened, but it's also important that he realizes that it is good for his people to also work with the leadership of William Ruto. There will be no other president between now and 2027. And the national government needs to work with the county governments, both in Luo Nyanza, in Coast, and any other places where Ruto was not elected. And therefore, it's important that the leadership of the opposition embraces the fact that we must exercise what we call bipartisan politics when it comes to governing issues of economic, social welfare of the people, and set aside politics for the time of politics. The season for politics is over. Right now, we need to deal with hunger. We need to deal with issues of food production, building the economy, and building that infrastructure that we can rely on over the next 5 years.
Governor, this really happened, and you are Azimio affiliated.
Yes.
But somebody would say that, you know, the kind of reception that the president has been receiving all across counties, people never expected that to happen. If the president would come to your county right now, would you do the same?
Yes, of course. He was there already.
Yes.
We have had meetings with the president. We have visited Galana Kulalu. I think even Baba himself gave direction on the reception of the president in Nyanza. Probably if he didn't, it would have been different. But I think one thing we must all accept that after the election in August last year, Kenya has moved on. You can see the difference between all the years and last election, that you didn't see one single demonstration. I think Kenyans have decided now, after our team of Azimio went to court and the ruling was done, people accepted. Kenyans have started to learn that there are institutions which exist, and once they make a decision, then Kenyans abide by it. It happened during the BBI. It happened now. And that tells you how mature our democracy is becoming. And I think there's nothing wrong to receive the president. As engineer here have said, is that between now and 2027, there's no other president. So the sooner we can all adopt to this and move and work for Kenyans, the better.
But it's a complete departure. I mean, the president even talked about it, Chrispus, because he said this region belongs to so-and-so. And, you know, when actually even said that some part of the media said that the president was raiding Raila's home turf. And he said that, no, that's not the truth. We are all Kenyans and we are taxpayers. The point that the president was in Nyanza province and the kind of reception that he received, a complete departure from what happened the first time he was there. None of the legislators affiliated to Azimio were not there. Is there something like silent handshake?
What I'll probably say is that this time he was more prepared. He definitely went to Luo Nyanza, having consulted widely, having worked with the local leadership to make sure that the reception he receives is going to give a reflection of the kind of unity he wants to bring in this country. And I think for him to have gone to Luo Nyanza this time around and being received the way he was received, it has really shifted the temperatures of this country in terms of if the people of Luo Nyanza can receive William Ruto this way, then who are we to start saying that we are not working as a country, we are not working united? And therefore, he has done a good job both with the local leadership. In as far as they are saying they are not in government, I think as we move forward, we may start seeing some of them being given positions to work with this administration. And that will improve the relationship between Luo Nyanza and his government. And we believe by 2027, the 1% he got will probably have a double digit on it, as opposed to the 1% he got this time, probably get 10 or 20%. His numbers will improve as we move forward. And that will be good for the country because there are assets in that region that the rest of the country requires. There are assets in that region we need to invest more in so that we can benefit as a country and as a region. We have the shipping here that is there that needs to help us in terms of logistics within the East African region. If we keep Luo Nyanza out of the ball game, how are we going to participate in the regional economics of this country? Yes.
Governor, what's so special about Luo Nyanza? I mean, the president has been there for the second time and it's a talk of the town right now. What's so special about it?
You know, in politics, you always have to keep an eye on the area where you did not get support. Normally, politicians tend to sometimes even relegate a bit their strongholds so that they can capture the areas where they did not get support. I think what is happening is the president also has decided to say, now I'm the president of Kenya. For those who did not vote me and those who voted me, they are all Kenyans. I have to serve everybody equally. And I think he said that after the election. We all said that in our own capacities, that now elections are over. Now the service you deliver, the road you build in a village in Kilifi, those who voted you, those who didn't vote you, will benefit from it. The piped water, the medicine in our hospital facilities, everybody, the ones from all the parties, also benefit from them. So I think the president and also the warm reception, I think, was also in the appeal Baba did the days before. That yes, the leaders of Nyanza should welcome the president, which I think was also good. I think that also made everything easy because days before, the Azimio leader announced that Nyanza leaders should embrace the president and welcome the president into Nyanza. I think the party leader knows that, Azimio party leader knows very well that in this country now our laws are very clear that when you have a dispute of the election, you go to court, the Supreme Court, the highest court of Kenya, and that after that you have nowhere else to go. Yeah. So I think he has come to terms, and the voters have come to terms that yes, the court ruled that the president of Kenya now is Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and you cannot change it. Do you have a direction from the Azimio leader? No, we don't actually. In our talks, we have had Baba has said that there will be an audit of the election, but I think we are all in agreement with him that as leaders, especially governors, that we have to work with the government. We are not even trying to embrace the government. It's constitutional that the national government and county governments will work together. It's constitutional. It's nothing we are. It's not a threat to Azimio that Azimio-affiliated legislators are working with the government. No. It's not. It's not a threat. I think we have three arms of government when you come to the national government. You have, of course, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Right. And even the members of parliament who keep on saying that we're in government, I think they are wrong, because all the members of parliament are in the legislative part and the executive, so they are supposed to be working together anyway to keep the government on check. Yeah. Okay. Is it something like a bait? The president had been given that free will. Okay, you can approach, you can go any part of the country, whether it is Azimio zone or otherwise. But somebody would argue that the president is given that free will so that come 2027, you promised to give us ABCD you've not achieved. So that will be like a point of attack to the opposition leader come next election. Definitely, he was not given an open check when he went to Luo Nyanza. Yes. Definitely, there are things that the people of Luo Nyanza expect from the various visits that he will make, the various inroads he will make. And the challenge will be if by 2027 he will not have measured up, the people of Luo Nyanza will still speak to their leader and ask him what is the direction we are supposed to take. And therefore, his relevance towards the people of Luo Nyanza will be measured on the basis of what he will deliver for them over the next 5 years. As for Raila Odinga, this is their son, this is their Baba. There is whatever direction he will tell them to go 2027 will be the supreme decision. As far as we know the history of the Luo Nyanza, they follow the direction that Raila makes. But we believe that there is a possibility as we progress, as Kenyan politics matures. Yes. Definitely the influence of William Ruto will grow as we move on, based on the kind of relationship he's going to sustain. If the economic agenda that he's going to achieve for the people of Luo Nyanza, probably it will have one or two influence. If there are people who will bring on government, who will work to support and influence the grassroots support he requires, definitely the numbers will change. But I don't see that shift, that being so dynamic that come 2027, the majority of Luo Nyanza will vote for any other direction other than that their support that required by Raila Odinga. Yes. So, Governor, based on that, somebody would argue that you're just picking from the national government and let's wait for election. You'll shift towards that, the other side and campaigns this same government. That's hypocrisy. Sorry? That's hypocrisy. Why are you taking from the national government and come towards election, you'll start campaigning as this government? We are not taking anything. It's our right. Right. I think the government of Kenya is supposed to deliver services to all Kenyans. All Kenyans pay taxes. The president even pronounced himself on that. Yes. And that it doesn't matter from which political divide you come from, that you will still get the services of both county and national government. So I think what is happening is, as you know, in this country, there's different leadership from different regions. We have had President Kenyatta on the Mount Kenya till recently. I still believe he is. I don't know what the people of that place perceive him now. But in Nyanza, you can see only that one pronouncement that you please make sure you welcome the president. All the leaders, including Oburu Odinga, were there.
Yeah.
So it tells you that if Baba did not pronounce himself, things would have probably been different. Yeah, but he pronounced himself. You saw the last trip you have that when the president went, everybody was scared to come out. I know I've had the same talks back home. People are saying, oh, you know, there was a lot in the social media that when the president came and we were found there, me and Abdul Somad, and everybody was saying, we are from Azimio. We said, you know what, we are county governments. We have two governments in this country. Yeah, we have the 47 governments. We have 48 governments. If you see the logo of the county government, the COG, it's very clear. We said one Kenya, 48 governments. We have one national government and we have 47 other governments. So we have no choice. We have to work with each other, and it's constitutional. It's not directed by parties. So when you see us working with the national government and the president, it's not a question of who should work with him or who should not.
I will ask you that question because some talks are around the corridors that Azimio governors, you know, are warming up to the president probably just to get whatever they're getting from the national government and might soon leave Azimio. That's a question that I'd love to ask you and answer right after we come from this break. We still have Engineer Chrispus Wathimba on set and Governor Gideon Mung'aro of Kilifi County. Let's take a break. We'll be back with more. All right, and welcome back. We're still having a discussion today. On Politics want to circle a number of issues. And Governor, before we took a break, let me just ask you, is there a threat to break Azimio or ODM?
Azimio, I don't know because I'm in ODM.
Yes.
Azimio is another big elephant. I'm a member of ODM in the Azimio coalition. But I really don't know what the management team, there's a lot of talks, you know, but you heard Baba say the other day that even the issue that the president, who was the former president, who was the chairman, is not leaving. So we believe that is the story. But for now, as we basically said, yes, we belong to our parties, but we have to work for the people of our counties. We have sworn to protect the Constitution of Kenya. When you swear in after election, you don't swear to protect the people of Kilifi.
The people of Kenya.
The people of Kenya. So we are working with the government. We will work closely with the president because I think we have no choice. It's by Constitution. But that does not mean that we have left our parties. We are still in our parties, but we will still support the government of the day. I think it's just good that for now, for going forward, Kenyans have shown us that they are mature enough now that for the first time, and you have seen it over the last 3 elections, the cycle have a bit changed. Even when we had chaos, we were not those massive chaos of 2007. But I think Kenyans slowly are trying to adopt that we have an election. Yes, there will be a winner, there will be a loser, but life has to go on.
Life has to go on. Yeah. When you look at the whole scenario, because at the end of the day, someone will have to be a casualty out of all this. 5-year cycle in politics is a very long time. Also in Kenya politics, quite dynamic. You all understand how it is. And perhaps this might come out to haunt the president, according to me, might haunt the president, if he overpromise across the country and then come 2027, very little is achieved. Do you think this will be like a launching pad to attack him for 2027? And who will take the brunt?
Going by his record in politics, I think he's also very much aware that whatever he promises might not be achieved 100%. And therefore, he's probably ready preparing a narrative that will be able to be given to Kenyans so that they can be able to accept the reality. For example, when he came in, he said, when I put the Bible down, the prices of fuel will come down. The price of food will come down. But up to today, the price of fuel and food is still high. But Kenyans have come to accept the way he has explained the issue. I think one of the things that he's gifted with is being able to communicate even difficult matters in a way that Kenyans are able to consume them without a lot of pain. And I believe even if their failed promises come 2027, he will be able to communicate in a way that Kenyans will be able to accept. Guys, look here, he tried his best, he was not able, let's give him another chance. The challenge will be now, come 2032, where definitely he has to leave the presidency, having served over 10 years, and he has no room to explain any excuse. We don't want him to suffer the kind of fate Uhuru Kenyatta has gone, where even some of his successes were never celebrated when he was president. It's only probably in the next 2 or 3 years, Kenyans will realize, hey, this man did some work, but when he was there, we did not treat him with the respect he deserved. So I hope and pray that by the time he reaches 2027, even if there are failed promises, even if he's given another chance, by 2032, he'll be able to deliver on the entire promise of Kenya Kwanza.
Where does this leave Raila Odinga as a person?
Looking at the age of Raila, he's just celebrated the 78th birthday. By 2027, he will be probably 83. He can still run for presidency, but I don't see the energy.
Chrispus, I mean, really?
There is no...
No, we don't have an age limit, right?
Yes, there's no age limit, but if he wants to, he has every right to do. The issue, does he have the energy to do it? Will the people accept? Will the people give him a chance? There is a prime minister of Malaysia who came in at the age of 96 because the people wanted that change. So we don't rule out the possibility of Raila running at 83. But if he doesn't, who is he going to mentor to become that person?
That is a big question now.
Yeah.
All right, and probably the governor can tell us, because in the ODM circle, who is the apparent heir?
There hasn't been a really talk on parent heir.
Yes.
Normally in the African tradition, you cannot discuss about inheritance when your father is still alive. So, but like engineer,
some signs.
But like engineer have said, you know, the decision of who will run on ODM come 2027, it is from the membership. It's not Baba who will decide that I will run, or anybody else who will decide what happens. There's party organs, there are party structures. They will decide, although sometimes many people believe, oh, you know, it's automatic, but the party membership will matter a lot on decisions on, yes, do you front Baba? Is Baba ready himself to run again? Does he have the energy, like engineer said, to traverse the country? Or has the party has a plan B? All this will come when time comes. It's too early now to discuss these things. I think we have just come out from an election. Now we need all to concentrate on development and see how we build up Kenya and our various counties. And that's what is going on at the moment. And Baba comes once in a while to say jambo to us and encourage us to keep on working. He has never been. I was with him on his birthday, and he has never incited any of us saying, oh, you know, you have to do this to the government, you have to do that. When he comes, he says, you know, you have no choice as leaders, you have to work with government. And he pronounced himself even at my homecoming party. So I think sometimes people want to paint Baba like somebody who always want to make trouble. But I think he's one political leader who is mature enough, and he knows when to hit and when to retreat.
Yes, retreat.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what was witnessed in Nyanza. I mean, nobody would have expected. The first visit, even the first governor, you know, of Homa Bay was not present. But this time around, Hugh was actually the one who received the president. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about service delivery. But just a bit, now that you belong to ODM, let me get this point of, you know, from ODM perspective. Is there a power struggle within ODM and Azimio?
I think within ODM there's no power struggle. I don't know, there might be some issues within Azimio, which I'm not privy to, but as an affiliate party, as we have, when we meet as a ODM.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, and this was happened always, that all the affiliate parties meet on their own, then the party leadership meets as a summit by themselves, and then the party leaders go back to their different parties and speak with their membership on the decisions made for Azimio. So far we have not heard of it, unless it's within those ranks. Us as membership wouldn't know. We know that as ODM has its chairman, its secretary general, and the other organs, all the way to the grassroots. So any struggles maybe within Azimio, but not within ODM.
All right. Maybe within Azimio. Of course, you've said that you're not privy to such kind of wrangles. We'll excuse you for that. But then, all right. So moving forward, the president is quite hell-bent to make truce, to mend bridges. Election is over. But one thing that we have to talk about, and Governor, you'll also chip in on this, the issue of the MCAs and the county governments. He coughed at the Kericho MCAs who had their issues in the county assembly. Perhaps the director, you'll play that clip later on, where the president was actually coughing at the MCAs. But when you look at the formation of the county governments at the MCAs, are we seeing a situation where we are going to have a repeat of what happened in 2010, 2013, and the successive kind of governments, where MCAs and the governors were not in a position to understand their positions pretty well?
I think the challenge, I ran for speaker in Nakuru County.
Yes.
And one of the things that I realized is that in areas where the MCAs are from one party, where there is no clear political divide in terms of the ideology, there is always a challenge where you end up with a speaker who is put to the MCAs by the party, and sometimes that speaker may not provide the kind of wisdom and leadership that is required to manage the affairs of the assembly vis-a-vis the relationship within the executive. I think in areas where it is the MCAs are one party, the governor is one party, the whole political color in that region is one party, there is always that challenge where there seems to be wrangles within the same formation. For example, in that area, Kericho, governor, MCAs, they are all UDA. The speaker also probably was put for them by the UDA party. That presents a challenge. And I believe if we can also have wisdom when you are electing speakers, the leadership of the assembly requires a great leader. Because remember, this is the third most powerful person in that area. From the governor, deputy governor, it comes to the speaker. And therefore, if it does not make important solemn decisions, especially on issues like leadership, there will be wrangles of this kind. You can see in 2013, there were areas where there were wrangles all the time. But if you go and interrogate those issues, you'll find the speaker's hand in those issues. So this, I'll blame the speaker, and he needs to be told, you need to manage the affairs.
Okay, let's take a look at that. Well. Let's take a look at that story where the president was there yesterday before we continue.
Naona bado kuna viongozi wengine bado wanang'ang'ana na mambo ya vyeo. Bado huyu anatafuta hii, mwingine anatafuta ile. Mimi nataka niwaambie MCAs wa Kericho, wacheni upuzi. Hiyo mchezo mnaendelea, sisi tunataka kila kiongozi ambaye amechaguliwa muanze kupanga mambo ya wananchi, sio kupanga mambo yenu ya vyeo sijui nani, mpaka mnapoteza wakati wa county assembly mkipigana.
The president yesterday, Governor, what is happening in your county?
I don't see it had to reach the level of the president.
But it had to reach his attention because they fought. There was a clip that went around. It was chairs all over.
I don't know. It depends with counties. I want to say MCAs are leaders at their own right. And I must say I have managed with my MCS to maneuver all this. It's not that we don't have issues. Every county has issues, but I must say, so far so good. In my county, we consult with the MCS. We agree on issues before even going to the assembly, because these issues, they deliberate in the assembly, affect the people of Kilifi. And I think it's good to have consultations with the speaker, the MCAs, before they go to decide on issues. Yeah. And we said we have not met this year because we have just started it, but I'll be meeting them shortly before the end of the month, because we have said we will be meeting monthly, hopefully, for a cup of tea and whatever, and just look at issues affecting the county, because at the end of the day, all the deliberations, all the developments happening in Kilifi, they are subject to a budget which goes through the assembly. And I must say that probably I'm the only county in Coast at the moment who has full executive in place. We have CCs in place, we have chief officers in place, we have passed our supplementary budget. Our MCS banned the midnight oil. They were supposed to be off on 6th of December, but they worked up to 22nd of December. As I'm talking, our budget has already been approved by the control of budget by Friday this week. So as we are moving on, we are working.
What is the secret? You know, when you talked about when there is a wrangle in a county assembly, a speaker is always behind that. What's the secret?
You see, the speaker also is a leader. So I think consultation between the governor, the speaker, and the other leaders is very important. I consult oftenly with the speaker. I consult with the leadership of the assembly from both divide, from the majority and the minority. Yeah. Yes. We sit together and we decide on what goes on. So that helps a lot. You know, leaders start bringing wrangles when they feel that you think they are less leaders. Because they are MCAs, you are governor, you think you are more of a leader than them. So having been a mayor in my young age, I have maneuvered with councillors. I think MCAs is something we can manage, because the different leaders, the most majority of them are young. They went to school, unlike before where you could just enter a municipal council and find all these guys who have been nominated by Kanu from all over the place. So I think it's a matter of having humble yourself as a governor and treat your fellow leaders.
You have to tell us, because at the end of the day, there is that aspect of house leadership in the counties. You'll find parties with a different interest, you know, because it's a dominant party. You'll have a number of MCs coming from this side, you know, receiving phone calls from this particular area, you know, pick this, pick and that, pick that. Does that really happen to your county? You'll respond to that. But when you look at it, you know, you reign for an office. The governor here already has his government up and running. The supplementary budget is soon getting passed.
It's been passed.
It's been passed. So you'd imagine
we are ready to spend.
That's pretty fast. And you'd imagine the kind of counties that we have. We still have got several counties who are still reaping from the last regime. Others are still working with the last officers from the last regime. How are we going to move past this? Because at the end of the day, the person who is suffering is the common mwananchi.
I think one of the things that we need to look at is that how do we handle the transition between the old administration that you're inheriting to the new one?
Yes.
And what are the timelines that are set to resolve certain issues, so that the governors also can be able, and the county assemblies have a calendar with which to work with, rather than keeping this issue open, so that it is not at the behest of the MCAs and maybe people who go to court and all that. We have clear timelines, the way we have in it for the presidency, that we determine the president within 21 days of an election. the same thing should be done. The county executive should be ready within a certain timeline so that the governor can be able to exercise the promises, deliver on the promises that he made for, or she made for the people of the county that he or she is leading. If we have that clear demarcation, it will be easy, because the challenges that you're seeing in Kericho and maybe in Meru, and even now you've seen in Kiambu there are issues cropping up, and there are maybe other counties where things are a bit quiet, but they will start cropping up. It's an issue of there is no clear deadline where these things should be resolved. He's lucky that in his county things have worked out, because he has more experience in terms of coming from the municipality, going to the National Assembly, working in the national government. That experience is helping him. There are governors who have not had the experience of this kind of leadership, and therefore they're having challenges to respect other leaders. And if that is not handled, managed maybe by law, I don't know how it's going to be done.
Yes. Governor, did you hit the iron when he's told it was still hot? Because I would argue that you bypassed the process before MCS could come to terms that I'm Mheshimiwa, already CECs are in place. Before they could come to terms the first salary, already there is an executive already in place. Did you bypass that?
I did not. I followed the law. Actually, what happened is, remember, there was an announcement that all county assemblies will be sworn in on 21st, I think, of September.
Yes.
But I had already, because I was preparing, we had promised people in 100 days in Kilifi that there'll be many changes which will take place.
Yes.
And I had to be up and running. I followed the law. What I did is made an announcement that I was going to swear in my MCAs on the 20th, and I did not change that date. I had the swearing in on the 20th. I addressed the assembly. I gave them my agenda. I saw they were sworn in. They chose a speaker, and then we started working. I went to address the assembly with the key agendas of my manifesto and what we need to compare. Don't forget that we had the outgoing government, which had their own CIDP, which was getting to an end, the County Integrated Development Plan. And I had to get also a team to start working to incorporate my manifesto in the new CIDP, which is all done now. We have done public participation. Soon we are going for now. We are just editing now. Then soon we'll have a public function to launch our CIDP. So as we have moved in the last few months. So the only thing is what we did was. Of course, as I told you through consultation, I called the MCAs and I told them, now we have to move to the next step. So, of course, I forwarded the names of the CECs to the Assembly, and I chose credible people. So none of them was turned down. I chose my CECs, I must say now, they are probably on their already third month salary since they are in office.
You're making other counties look so bad.
I changed even the county secretary.
Yes.
I had put a county secretary who was already there on acting capacity for 6 months. But as we are navigating the waters, you get to know many things which you need to still adjust. So he's since also gone on leave, and we have an acting county secretary now. I'll be announcing a panel next week, which will fill 2 positions. It will fill then I will ask the Public Service Board to advertise the position so that we can have a substantive county secretary. Then we also going to some of the board members. One of the board members are youth in the Kilifi Public Service Board, was picked as a chief officer. And one of them, both youth, the CC for water is 27 years old, who I picked also for the CCs, and we have another youth, a lady, I think she's also the same age, who has now been picked up from the Public Service Board as a chief officer of finance. So I'm going also to form a panel next week, or maybe I'll use the same panel to fill those positions, the two vacant positions in the public service board and the substantive camp secretary. So as we have moved, we have chief officers in place, we have SCCs in place. They have had training, they are about to go for another. They have done an induction. Last week we had a full week induction of the chief officers. People are up and running. Our budget has been passed by the control of budget. Yes. Our supplementary budget, because of the understanding and rapport with the county assembly, we were able to convince them not to go on holiday on the 8th, on the 6th of December. Yes. But they waited and they worked even Sundays till 22nd of December. We were able to sign the supplementary budget before New Year. It was gazetted. It has now gone to it was to whatever, and the whole idea was also you need to tell their leaders and you consult them in their own politics. One of the things I discussed with my MCAs was, yes, we are all going for holiday. Don't forget that schools out there.
Let's take a break, Governor. And when we come back, I still want to dig deep more on your 100 days. Third month, your CECs are taking home their third salary. That means that you have got 100 days. I will get more into your hits and misses. And then what can we copy? The issue of MCAs wrangles with the governors, and even now threatening where the president is now coming on board, is something that we cannot take lightly. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back with more. And welcome back. We're still having just, behind the scenes talk here. And I'll tell you what the governor said. To the MCS of Kilifi, there's something he said. I'll tell you at the end of it. Okay. Let's talk about the issue of, the issue of governors having not so good kind of a working relationship. This has happened in the past. Of course, we've seen several governors going before the Senate for impeachment. The latest one being Meru Governor, Kawira, and she was saved by the Senate committee. But still, there's some issues running in between, the county assemblies. Do you think the governor did ever expect this to happen to her?
Well, I don't think she expected it. But also maybe she did not understand her place in leadership when it comes to how she relates with the MCAs. You are not an absolute authority by yourself, by being the governor of a county. You must realize, just like in the national government, we have the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative. The only thing we don't have in the county is a judiciary. But we have two distinct arms of leadership, which is the legislature, which is the county assembly, and the executive, which is the county government. So you, as a governor, you must exercise wisdom in your leadership as far as you are leading your executive and how you're relating with the county assembly. And I think importantly is respect. If you look at the issues bedeviling Meru County government, it all goes down to how we respect each other, how we communicate with each other, how we handle issues among leaders. And we don't need to assume that the MCA is a lesser leader than you as a governor. Remember, you require that one vote from an MCA to pass your budget. And that budget is what you require to deliver on the agenda that you promise the people of your county. So what you need to realize is that how do you now balance the interests of your agenda and also the interests of the MCA? One of the challenges that MCAs suffer from is they go to office, they are elected, they have a very small salary. If you look at the salary these people earn and the expectations on the ground, because the first person people visit is an MCA. If there is a medical issue, if there is a funeral issue, if there is a school fees issue, is an MCA. And when people come to you, you cannot just let them walk away without, even if it's giving 200 or 500 shillings. So this MCA goes back to his pocket to give something small. But he or she expects the support of a governor in terms of bringing some of the development issues closer to his ward or her ward, so that some of these challenges that he's suffering from are elevated, or there's a relief, in the sense that the leadership of the county government can be able to bring services closer to the people, so that he or she as an MCA is able to tell the people, look, if there's a medical issue, there's a hospital nearby, go and you'll get medicine, go and get these services. If there's an issue of school fees, there's a bursary kitty in place. So the county governor must be able to have wisdom to manage both he or her interests and those of the MCAs who or she must work with. Yes. If they are not able to balance that, then there are issues of fights will always be there. And I think most of the governors who have been able to succeed is going into this office knowing very well that these people are important as I am important to the people of my county.
All right. You know, it's quite interesting, because if the next, I want us to talk about, you know, your achievements and the governor's achievement countrywide, and in relation specifically to your county government. But before then, we must accept that there is that bit of, you know, some governors having high-handedness in running the affairs of the county. Either some of them did not expect to have the kind of leadership that they have currently, and therefore things do change overnight. But then, Governor, in your own position, do you really think that some governors were ready? Were you ready, starting with you, for the position?
Yes, I was. I was. As the engineer have said, at a very young age, I ran Malindi as I was the mayor of Malindi. And those who know, I was also voted the best mayor of Kenya in 2001. Yeah, and the cleanest and best run municipality in Kenya. And I was, the same time, I was also the vice chair of the all local authorities of Kenya. The chair was Mayor Magut from Eldoret. Then I became MP for 10 years. In the first 5 years as MP for Malindi, I was also seconded to the AU Parliament in South Africa, the Pan-African Parliament, where I served for 5 years. So I have quite an experience, and I know that we are all leaders of our own right. You cannot feel that because I'm governor, the MCA is less leader in the society. We were both elected. There is a reason why in those particular wards, even where I went to fight to have an ODM MCA elected, that they elected another, either independent or a UDA, OPA. It was the choice of the people. Yeah. The people in their own wisdom elected a governor from ODM and MCAs from different parties. So I respect all the leaders who were elected in the County Assembly of Kilifi. And with that, I've had several consultations with the MCAs. That's why we managed to have CCs in place. We have CEOs, CCOs, chief officers in place. We have, in the last 100 days, done so many things in the county of Kilifi. During the campaign, I promised that in the first 100 days, all these facilities in the county will have medicine. And when I came in, there were debts to pay to KEMSA. We cleared the first bills the county had with KEMSA.
The pending bills from the last regime?
Yes. All right. From KEMSA, because for me it's a priority. Health was part of one of my priorities. So we cleared the bill of KEMSA. I managed to engage KEMSA. We have now, we bought, the last order from KEMSA was slightly over 230 million. And all the 150 facilities of Kilifi County, as we are talking, they have a medicine. I've gone down to a few hospitals. The challenge we have now is storage. You go to some other hospitals. I was in Mariakani the other day, and I realized that even some medicine is being stored in the wards. This never happened before.
Because there's an oversupply?
Yes, because there's enough supply and they don't have enough storage facilities. So now the challenge is to have storage facilities even in the referral hospitals within the county, because they didn't have space. They didn't have enough stores for medicine before. Maybe they used to buy very little, or sometimes they didn't have at all.
That's a complete irony when some counties are still suffering from lack of medicine. For you have another supply.
We have. I'm even going a step further now.
Yes.
We already had discussion with the chair of KEMSA And we're even going a step further. In the next supply, what we are trying to do is to make sure we do not only supply the county of Kilifi, the next, this medicine will run up to end of April.
Yes.
So we'll have about 1 month before the next financial year. So we'll replenish that. But what we want to do is now to have all the medicine of Kilifi County also be labeled as free medicine for the county, so that we can also try to see how we can cut leakages of medicine from the hospital. And KEMSA is up to the task, and they have said we'll look into it and see how we brand our medicine for the county.
I'll come back to you and give me your hits and misses. But then, when you look at it, engineer, 100 days is, it's a general term that most governments use, 100 days in office. 100 days. How important is that? What's the real essence of this 100 days in office? Because as we speak, some counties do not have their, their house in order yet. But here, most county governments are celebrating, including the national government celebrating 100 days in office. How important is this? You've been there in a position of leadership.
One of the important things that it sends a message of the kind of leadership the people should expect from you. Meaning that by the time you go to office, from day one, you know what has brought you to that office, you know what you need to deliver and how you're going to deliver it. So it is a reflection of the kind of leadership you'll have over the next 5 years or 3 years or whatever term, length of your term is. So the 100 days are an indicator of the kind of person you, the people of that county or that country have elected in terms of the presiding over the affairs of the people he or she is going to lead. So it's important that this person is able to demonstrate that, number one, can I manage stakeholders? Can I manage resources? Can I bring on board the right men and women to govern with me? Can I be able to work with the people who are not supporting me? Can I bring unity? Can I be able to understand issues better? So this time is very important for this leader to be able to go deeper into issues. Because when you are campaigning, you just look at issues from the surface level, but you don't understand the gravity of issues before you start engaging people, before you go to hospital. The way he has now gone to hospital, he has realized as much as the issue is being portrayed as medicine, even storage, logistics is an issue. And that also reflects probably even in the country, we are not suffering from health issues, not because we don't have resources, but the problem is how do we manage the resources we have? We probably have enough medicine at KEMSA to serve every part of this country, but the problem is the logistics of having that medicine to reach to the various facilities, to be stored well, to reach to the people, and all manner of issues. So our 100 days are able to bring out certain issues that will help us to know in the next 5 years, this is how we'll govern this country. You've seen when Ruto had his retreat in Nanyuki, he has taken stock of the 100 days to be able to plan better. And he has seen, I need to restructure my government. There are certain departments need to move from here to here. There are certain people who are better here than here. There are certain emerging issues. There are issues of between the deputy president and the prime sector that I need to manage very well. He has seen it's important now that I need to work with the Luo Nyanza people better. Maybe my first visit was not with respect. I need to go there with some sort of decorum that people of Luo Nyanza can receive me well. He has seen that there are certain important assets within these areas that did not vote for me that I need for my people to benefit.
So 100 days like a litmus test.
It's a very important litmus test for any leader. And I think for those who have been who have suffered badly in the first 100 days, they need to take stock and use those challenges that they have gone through to make their leadership better. For them who have succeeded like him, they should not sit comfortable, because whenever you get comfortable, you forget there are issues that can emerge. Take stock and be able to prepare yourself better.
Governor, you have all the bragging rights at this particular point, and you can walk with your head held high. The streets of Nairobi and people of Kilifi will still see you nonetheless. What are your hits and misses? But before you answer that, what is your current budget? For the next financial year?
It's 15.4 billion. And this include from the equitable share, we get about 11.6 billion. Then we have on-source revenue and donors.
Yes.
So, but we are trying even to get more donors. So we'll probably, our budget will go much higher at the end of the financial year. But yes, the hits were, as I've said, we have now medicine in all our hospitals. There is a change management in the hospitals. I've held a meeting with all the doctors. During the campaign, I used to tell people that if I walk into a hospital and find that doctor is not on duty, I'm supposed to be on duty, will be fired. And I thought I would not just say it in the campaign. So when I came in, I held a breakfast meeting with all the doctors of the county, specialists and the medical officers, and the managers of the hospitals, and we agreed on a way forward. And I said, you know, we are all here to serve the people, and this is what I expect from you as doctors. Yeah? Small things, even apart from medicine. Even I told the doctors that, look, I walk into hospitals and I see somebody walking around and ask, who's the doctor? You know, I said it's very easy for me to walk in and I know who's the doctor by just having doctors in their gowns.
Right.
Yeah? Nurses in their uniforms. They're small things, but they make change. When I took over, I know the biggest subject we used to talk about in the campaigns was, for example, hot water. There was a business going on at the Kilifi General Hospital where you had people selling flasks of water at 50 bob outside the hospital.
The patients?
Yes, to go and bath newborn babies and mothers. And they said that will end. And I fixed it in the first 2 weeks I was in office. Every hospital of Kilifi hospital today has hot water. And we have fixed a desalination plant at the Kilifi hospital. We did it in 2 months. Now you can change the salty water at the hospital to fresh water. I have met with many development partners. I must say, maybe I'm lucky, or they thought there was a new regime and they were flocking in. I've met several ambassadors, I've met partners, USAID included. And as I'm talking, apart from just getting medicine for the hospitals, we have managed to partner with Afya Ugavi, sponsored by USAID, and we can now monitor at least 20 facilities in the rural on how medicine leaves Nairobi KEMSA to those facilities. The pharmacist in the county, on her phone, she will be able to monitor when the truck leaves Nairobi.
App.
Yes, an app.
Right. When
it leaves Nairobi, and she can follow up to the smallest village of Kilifi out of these 20 facilities that the drugs have arrived. Yeah?
Okay.
To the facilities. Those are some of the achievements we have been able to do. We have also been able to, because one of the agendas I have is on water, and we said it's most of the time we are either sharing water or water is disconnected, not because there's no water, because we have not been able to pay power. So we are working on desalination, on solar, and we have already a pilot project in a place called Marafa in Magarini sub-county, where we have already been able to put in the last 1.5 months a sample solar panels to pump water to the people instead of using electricity. What is the target? The target at the end of the day is to make sure that apart from having power disconnected and then you cannot supply water, we'll be able to have constant pumping of water to the people, but also we are able to reduce the cost of water to our people. So we have laid the ground for many things, on agriculture, on fishing, on all these issues. But I must say that we have every department running. We have already signed an MOU with the Department of Gender, with this new CS Asia Juma and the Finland government on gender-based violence issues. Kilifi is one of the areas where I think we are topping in the country on gender-based violence issues. We are the ones who hosted for example, the 14 days of gender-based violence in Kilifi. So we are also have on that front. We have issues going on. We have been able to create a bill now going to the Assembly to change the finance bill. We have had a meeting with several banks. The county used to have something called Mbegu Fund, which is was loaning up to 100 million a financial year. We have changed that now to Wezesha Fund. We have already agreed with several banks. At the moment, we are spoiled for choice, where we can match that money maybe to 3 or up to 10 shillings. Yeah, so that instead of giving only 100 million as a county, we'll fix the 100 million in the bank, and we'll get 500 million managing it with the bank. So that people can assess more funds.
Right. I'll come back to that. That issue of pending bills in county governments, even the national government still have pending bills running across the different sectors. How did you solve that in your 100 days, the pending bills? Let's talk about agriculture. Let's talk about health that you've talked about. And most importantly, the black gold cashew nut business in Kilifi County. But before we take a break, Chrispus, there's this issue of policy and execution of policy framework. Yes, you have everything laid out. You have got your policy framework, your manifesto. But then the aspect of the execution is what the big issue here is.
I think maybe we need to borrow from Kibaki.
Right.
Kibaki had his policy about the economy of this country. Probably way back in the 60s. He knew what he wanted this country, and he knew the potential of this country. But importantly, he knew he cannot deliver this alone. So he surrounded himself with men and women who share that vision, who share that aspiration, who have the capacity to deliver on the aspirations that he has for the country. And therefore, even if you have good policies, if you don't surround yourself with men and women of equal task or even equal measure to deliver on those policies, it will just be on paper. This country is not having shortage of good ideas. What we lack is men and women of courage to go and deliver on those good ideas. And the few who have that courage probably don't have the political support sometimes to be able to deliver. If you look at the president right now, he's probably one of the few men in this government who has really come out clearly on his vision for this country. Probably the deputy president has come close, maybe on the issues of milk, tea, and whatever. But with Dr. William, he's very clear. But now the question is, are the CSs and the PSs able to deliver on that promise? So this will also come into a question. Do we think his government will last the next 5 years in the way it is right now, or maybe he may be required to change it if he finds that there is shortage in terms of the abilities and skills he requires to deliver on the policies and the vision he has for this country? So it's important you have the right people around you.
Okay, I'm told you're running out of time, and to see my director on the floor, that means that things are not so okay. But Governor, I'll give you the last word, and as you answer that, IBC will be leaving offices tomorrow. As you can also put that with your final remarks and in your county. They'll be releasing their today and actually exiting office tomorrow. What is your take on their performance as in the last 6 years? As you answer that, you can also give me a quick scorecard on what you should expect in the next 100 days in your county. Quickly, Governor.
Thank you. I think on IBC, I must say they have had their flaws, but generally, I must say they have tried their best. In the last 6 years, I think we have our reservations on few issues, but generally they have done very well.
Yes.
And I must say, when it comes to elections, sometimes every candidate will have their issues, but generally, I feel like they had a free and fair election the last years.
Okay.
On the next days, there's so much happening. We have already, as a county, we have already, I formed 3 task forces in the first 10 days I was in office. One is pending bills task force, one is health task force. The other
what have you cleared so far?
The other one is, I've had task force working. Some preliminary reports, but I think the next week I will have the final reports of all this. We have already on pending bills, preliminarily you can see that there are many, on these pending bills, there are many projects which were done, which have no tender, no LPOs. Those are not pending bills. Those you throw out. So as we go, when I received the report, I don't want to preempt the report of the pending bills task force, but once we have it, then we will have a direction on it. We are not saying we'll not pay pending bills, but we'll pay pending bills only where you can see projects were done. Because one of the terms of reference to the task force is that before they clear any bill, they must also see the project physically. Yeah? Okay. So that we can tick and say, yes, we saw the pending bill and we saw the project.
All right.
Yeah, so part of the things we are doing. So I hope that will help us. On health, we had also the last 100 days, we had a meeting with various stakeholders. I have asked my architects and people in charge of works in the county, because we've decided you cannot do these things as a county alone. So what we have done is we are already drawing plans in all the dilapidated hospitals, Malindi Hospital, Kilifi General Hospital, and we do plans per. If it's a ward you want to change, female ward or whatever, we do the plans, and then we have already brought on board stakeholders. Malindi Hospital, for example, they started already renovations in the first 100 days in several parts, which is being done by the private sector. All what I want as governor, do that part, bring us the key. We're not looking for money. So the private sector is really coming up big on this, on partnering, on developing our health care systems. We're already signing an MOU with the Pwani University Hospital because we want to do the Kilifi teaching, research and referral hospital. And they have given us 89 acres of land to construct that hospital. And we are looking for partners. And a sports complex, they have given 39 acres of land. We are about to sign the MOU now, but we have had several meetings with Pwani University, and we are partnering that. So we'll build the teaching and referral hospital, we'll build a sports complex, and this will take, of course, a bit of time, but we are looking for partners, and soon I'll be meeting with various partners on the same issues. But we have had stakeholder engagement, and we are going to even further it by forming a directorate in my office on donor linkages and private sector coordination, which will unveil soon to bring more partners on board.
And finally, how is your relationship with your deputy?
Very well.
Okay.
Very well.
Governors have issues all over with their deputies.
No. You see, that's what I'm saying.
She's not having, beef back and forth.
No, that's what I'm telling you.
Yes.
It's all about respecting each other's position.
Yes.
My deputy, I work very well with my deputy. When I'm not there, she takes charge. When I'm there, I take charge. I'm supposed to be in Kisumu. I said, no, I'll not be in Kisumu. At a short notice, she will change her plans to fit in to run the county. I told her the first, sorry man, you have to jump to Kisumu.
All right.
Yeah. And she's now in Kisumu.
She's in Kisumu. Deputy Governor, if you're watching.